Hello and welcome to today's episode where we're chatting with the incredible Heather Fisher, a powerhouse in rugby union and rugby sevens. Heather represented Team GB at the 2016 Olympics and has an impressive history of England, including reaching the final of the 2010 Rugby World Cup. Known for her unapologetic approach to life, Heather has often spoken about sport being the place where she could truly be herself, and her career has been defined by breaking boundaries. In this episode, we'll dive into Heather's personal journey, from overcoming challenges, such as anorexia and hair loss, to navigating the intense pressures of elite sport. We'll also discuss how Heather has coped with adversity, her thoughts on enjoying the journey despite high ambitions, and her advice for anyone feeling like they don't quite fit into a box in dentistry. Hello and welcome. Thank you for being here today.
Oh, you want to, should I speak to you now?
Yeah. Hi.
Thanks for having me on.
We were just talking about some stuff we're going to cover. So I'm going to come back to what we were talking about just before we officially started the podcast.
This is now the official.
This is now
the official voice.
My official voice. Yeah. Disclaimer
Why
for
do
those
people do that?
For those watching. I have a podcast voice.
Why do people do that?
Because it's the pressure of the cameras looking at you. I think. Yeah. I'm going to try and maintain my normal voice, but if it does change again, feel free to...
I won't point it out.
You can. I give you permission to point it out. But no, really, thank you for being here. Really appreciate you making the journey down from Birmingham.
From Brum, yeah, on my Brompton.
On your Brompton, which is sitting outside the studio, and you can cycle back later.
I think I might have to get half cycle, half Uber. Does that count?
It's now dark as well. Have you got your high vis?
No, come on, I don't wear high vis.
There we go.
But I thought if I did put light jeans on, then that might count as
I don't trust the other drivers.
What if I take the hat off and then this might act as a reflector?
I still don't. I'm not going to endorse you cycling in this darkness, which is we were talking about.
As long as my teeth are okay, because this is all about dentistry, right?
It's all about dentistry.
Is it teeth?
You actually have very good teeth.
I actually need my teeth doing.
Oh.
I did a snatch in one of my days of playing.
Yeah.
Had 85k on my shoulders, about to go up and split my legs. So I split snatch straight up, and it was here. I just took a deep breath, and I went to go up.
No.
And it hit my chin, and I was concussed through the bar on the floor. Broke down to tears because of when you have a few concussions, the emotions just hit you straight away.
Imagine.
I threw the bar forward, and I was like, and then my tooth has moved over. It's moved over, yeah. And then I did a bent over cable. It was too light, strong, I know. Too light, and then also pulled it, and it's gone over twice.
Was it immediate, or was it a gradual shift?
No, it's two shifters, like two shifters.
Wow. Okay, and you haven't had that fixed yet?
No, I need it done.
Okay.
Do you want to do it?
Yeah, anyone watching, if they want to use Heather Fisher as a case study, please reach out.
I need to do it. And apparently I've got cracks in my teeth from playing, from like impact.
I believe it.
I can't see them, but cause I think I've got quite nice teeth.
Yeah, you have got nice teeth.
But I'm like, that one's just shifted. But until that happened, I had nice teeth, so I was a bit annoyed.
That's okay. They're fixable. Most teeth. You should see some of the case studies in dentistry. There are some incredible transformations.
Really,
so
I just like
possible.
this one fixed because it's obviously it's hard to clean as well.
Yeah, that is tricky.
I'm like, my electric.
Well, hopefully somebody will reach out to you with some advice after this.
Shifted.
I'm gonna kick off with a question. So,
exciting.
Very exciting. In an interview 5 years ago, you said, "I got into sport because it's the only place that you could be yourself."
Was that 5 years ago?
It was 5 years ago. Yeah, that you said that.
Wow.
Would you mind explaining a bit about what sport means to you? Why sport?
I suppose it gave me the freedom to express myself. As a young girl, it was like my escape from my parents going through a divorce. It was escape from anorexia. It was escape from, I suppose, my reality that I wasn't really comfortable in as a young girl, as a child. And I would put a pound in my shoe back in the day when you had telephone boxes, and I would just go off on my bike. And if I got lost, I got lost. If I didn't, I didn't. But I'd just try and plan to get lost, just to move around. And I knew that I had a pound in my shoe in case I had to phone home just to come and get me.
Yeah.
But it was always my escape, just to get out, go and get lost. And then, I don't know, I found it sounds really weird me saying it, but it's the truth. I found freedom in like the pain of just training hard.
Okay.
I love the pain of training hard and feeling like I've worked.
How early did you find that, how young were you when you found that was something you enjoyed?
I was in the gym from 8 to 13.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Built.
Yeah, I could see.
Not anymore. They've gone down a little bit now. But I was in the gym from age 13.
Okay.
I wasn't allowed in. I used to sneak in. So I felt it then, but I just liked it. But that was unhealthy because that was kind of playing a part in my anorexia. So I wouldn't eat. Never really spoke about this, but would go like via health shops, get laxatives, do all the stuff like that. Try and lose weight. Then go to the gym, do as much as I could, and then cycle 15 miles home.
Wow.
And that was after school.
Yeah.
Until the point I was pulled and in hospital with anorexia. So that was the unhealthy part. But actually, the stubbornness to want to be strong and want to build, I suppose I managed to turn it around.
Are you, just to be clear, so the anorexia you experienced as a teenager, do you feel that fed into your determination later in life when it came to rugby?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. Because to not eat, and to anyone with an eating disorder out there, they're such strong characters. You're so I'm the most stubborn person. Like, so stubborn. My agent come back to this. I'm so stubborn.
Yeah.
I don't mean to be, but I just know how to be switch to switch and just switch off.
You still like that now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
I have to really learn to come back and be soft because it's not my... it just wasn't nature. And I think I just wasn't nurtured like as a child. I think through my anorexia and divorces, it just wasn't... Build
you up, doesn't it? Yeah.
And then obviously being in a high-performance setup my entire life, I've had to like build my character, I suppose, to just deal with egos and deal with setups that I don't particularly like. And I would like be really sensitive in those setups, and then I'd be like certain coaches and certain leadership styles. I suppose I felt like I was bullied. I suppose, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
And I had to toughen up. And I do it all the time where I clip my finger and draw a line because it's my way of just going. It's over there.
Moving
now.
on from it. Yeah.
I have to move. Otherwise, I'd stay in it because I don't know. It's not okay. What happens to you in setups that I suppose people don't talk about.
You've mentioned as well in other interviews, so I obviously did a bit of research before you came on today, that you've never really felt you fit in a box.
Yep.
Yep, that's me. How do you feel that has kind of lent itself to your career? Do you feel that is something that has become a strength for you? Has it ever? It's not working in my favour just yet, Gabby. From adversity and maybe not. Nobody likes to feel like they don't fit in, particularly at a young age when you're quite impressionable and there's you're growing up and you're becoming someone, and everyone knows your brain isn't fully formed until you're 25. I don't even believe. I was going to say I don't even believe 25. I think it never actually is fully formed. But do you feel it is something that you've played to your to your strengths? Do you feel it's helped you at any point?
It's a really good question, actually. To be fair, that is a good question. Not many people ask a good question. That's a good question. I'm not sure if it's worked in my favour.
Okay.
I think I still battle with it. It's like even going from sport to entertainment, like they select you on boxes, and I'm like, why? I'm not in that box really. I'm not trying to be different. I don't try and be argumentative. I just see things differently. I just see when someone asks a question, I see a different side of it. I just see things differently. When I would say when a coach will say, "Oh, Fish, stand on a cone," and I, without thinking, got the cone and put it where I was stood. And I'm like, I'm on a cone. And I didn't think, you want me to go over there. So I don't know. I just think differently. And does it work in my favour? I haven't really thought about it, I suppose, that deeply. Because I work on just being my authentic self.
Yes.
And I don't want to be, sometimes I wish I wasn't different. Some things, I know people go, oh, Fish is great, you're different. People want different. I wish I wasn't different because I don't understand sometimes, or actually quite a lot of the time, I don't understand certain conversations, certain things, or I'm like, I have to just pretend that I understand because I don't understand. Or I can't, I don't know, I just can't, I'm not really sure if I've got the answer to that yet.
Okay.
But I think I've just stepped out to be my authentic self. And that has been enough in my career. I don't think I've fulfilled my potential in my career due to being different. But that's another story, I suppose.
There will be some people tuning in who may feel like they don't fit in to a certain what they or others may perceive a dentist or a dental professional to look or be or act like. What would you say to those people who might be experiencing these feelings?
You've got to be able to, for me, it comes from fire in your belly and the passion. And I think whatever drives your passion, your fire in your belly and drives you to want to be yourself, I think should drive your purpose. For me, it doesn't make sense. Why would you do something you don't like? And why would you not go towards something that you feel something towards? I don't think many people have emotional intelligence. I think it's one of the lack skills in businesses.
Yeah, I would agree.
Underrated as well. And for me, I think most of my decisions in sport and now transitioning out are all based on my instinct and my gut feeling. And I'll bang on about certain things if I can feel it's in my belly and I've got to go with it. And if it's not, I'll let it go. Most things I bang on about because it's driving the purpose. So if someone feels like it shouldn't be for them, why shouldn't it be for you? If it's worth your thought, then go with it. If it's not worth your thought, then leave it behind. I think it's as simple as that. We overcomplicate it.
I mean, it comes back to what you said earlier about sort of drawing a line under something and just sort of moving on from it, like not dwelling too much and thinking, should I, shouldn't I? If it's not for you, leave it there. And if it is, follow it through. Yeah,
I think it's just asking yourself, like staying in tune to who you are. Knowing yourself is also one of the most underrated skills. Like, not many people know themselves. And when you know yourself, you start to become really consciously aware of your behaviours and your actions and how you feel. And then if you can tune into how you feel, and then you get a positive feeling and a positive like behaviour pattern and thoughts towards something, then why wouldn't you go towards something? If it's healthy and it's fulfilling your purpose and passion, then fully go into it. I think I started to ask myself the question, is England rugby right for me to transition out? I remember asking myself a few times on the way to training, am I getting what I need right now from England? Am I becoming a better person? Am I learning? Am I gaining skills? Am I gaining more anymore? They're the questions I started to ask myself from probably 34, 35 onwards in sport.
Okay.
And I had to understand what was coming up, where I was going, because I've always wanted to use sport to springboard to like the next chapter, which is this chapter.
Yeah.
I don't know what is in this chapter. People go, what's next, Fish? The truth is that creates like an unconscious pressure because I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I know what I can do, but I don't know what it is because I don't know what I don't know yet. Maybe I could be a dentist. Who knows?
Do it.
Open your mouth. But I think if something's right for you, go towards it and stay in tune to who you are and what your behaviours are and your patterns and your thoughts. If it's not right, then leave it. I think one of the biggest traits we all have as humans is we all overthink everything.
Yeah.
We overthink and we're afraid sometimes. Like a no is just as powerful as a yes. And I heard this the other day, and this is really relevant. If someone said to me, and I get asked this question a lot, Fish, do you have any regrets or anything that you've gone through, hard times, would you change any of them? And the question is, no. No, I wouldn't. I'm just making sure that the answer is no. No, I wouldn't. The hardest things I went through were anorexia, but that gave me this really stubborn, strong character to do what I'm doing now and hopefully change the world. Like my broken back enabled me as an athlete to know myself so well that I trained myself through the latter end of my career. My hair loss, I really struggle with my alopecia, but it's also my identity. So I wouldn't change it. Do I find it easy? No. So why do we worry and have all these anxious thoughts about what could be or what's coming up? When actually 99.9% of those issues we wouldn't change anyway. Which means even when we step forward and we have an issue, we're going to approach it and we probably won't change it anyway, so why are we worrying about it? Do you understand?
Absolutely I do. Obviously, you've got some very personal struggles there that will be different for me as they are to other people, but the general sentiment, I think, is really important. I think my question for you would be, when... Obviously, a lot of these are perhaps things that you are ongoing, that you've got to live with. And like you say, it's not always something that you find easy, but it's something that you wouldn't change because it has informed who you are today. Is that something that you've had to learn over time? Or is that like a mentality that you've always had? Like, this is what it is and I can't change it?
I've always had it.
Okay.
I've always had it. But I've always had this ability to go, I see hurdles in front of me, just hurdles. And I just see myself just bouncing over them. like crashing through them. Just yeah, okay,
That's
whatever.
a skill.
Out the way, out the way,
Yeah.
out the way, out the way. That's how I see life. I think it's become a lot harder. Like, don't get me wrong, the last year has been really tough and challenging. And the last 6 months have been pretty ill and run down, and I think lost my mojo a couple of times. But I hate losing my mojo because I can't do my best job. But I'm not afraid to lose it. I just don't like the feeling of it. And sometimes sitting in that uncomfortable state, you have to know that you'll be okay one day. And I always will trust myself that I'll always be okay. I'll always be okay.
It's that cliche, isn't it? You've got to be comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah, but not too uncomfortable.
Not too too uncomfortable is never good, but it's kind of like you just said, sitting with it and being like, I know I can get out of this because I have done previously.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of coaches and leaders out there and people in business who go who go, oh, this is uncomfortable, well, I must embrace it. It's a different, like, being uncomfortable, you still need to know how to be confident in it.
Yeah.
And know how to handle yourself in it, and know that it's tough and you can handle it. It shouldn't be ugly and it shouldn't be forced. You just got to understand to be able to almost pull yourself back up the TV screen and sit with it and look at your own life in front and visualize it happening in front of you. So you take yourself out of the equation, which is a skill you learn over time. But all these skills are really useful now. I'm transitioning out, but it can't come fast enough. I'm so impatient.
I can relate to that.
I'm so impatient.
I can relate to that.
And I'm like, why am I got it now?
Yeah.
Why am I got it now? And the truth is, I'm probably not ready for it all now. But I want it all now.
Yeah.
I just want the doors to open.
So, if you don't mind, rewind a little bit. So we're going to go back to I don't want to sort of talk about this too much because I'm aware it's probably quite a repetitive subject for you. Your chapter in rugby and playing for England and a lot of what you achieved there. How was that experience for you? Did you enjoy it? Was it something that you feel really proud of looking back?
I think it's really hard to enjoy a career in sport. I think it's a skill to be able to enjoy your career. Like, there are times when I did enjoy it, don't get me wrong. But the game is changing now. It's more professional, money-wise, financial-wise. But when you're having to choose, I can't really believe I'm saying it, but when I'm choosing between, like, physio for my body or food, I shouldn't be in that position. That was the position I've been in before. And, like, choosing for me to see a certain physio for my body should be my choice.
Yeah.
And having to hide behind different physios so that physio wouldn't treat me. Things like that.
Yeah.
It's not healthy.
No.
So I spent a lot of my career like that. I love being on the pitch. Love playing for my country. Love being with my teammates.
Yeah.
Had some amazing times. Like, to think that I've gone 28 years in 2 different international sports.
Yeah.
It is really is quite cool, right? I don't really know how I don't know how I've got to 40 without having a proper job and just playing sport for a career. It's no wonder I've got no friggin' hair. But it's quite, when I say it out loud, it's quite cool. I'm really proud of that. But it hasn't come easy, and I was more an athlete than a rugby player. I've never really drank. I've always been very particular about my body, what goes in it.
Yeah.
Anything that went in had an exact purpose. If it didn't have a purpose, it didn't go in.
For the rugby, you mean?
Yeah, but I always felt I was an athlete more than a rugby player. So I didn't think I'm a rugby player. I was an athlete.
Okay.
Because I always wanted to do, I didn't know if I was going to settle in rugby.
Okay.
I ended up settling in rugby, but I always thought I'd move on and move out of rugby. Like, I wanted to go, I had a trial for, like, velodrome cycling, indoor cycling. I always wanted to be a skeleton athlete, down the ice.
Yeah.
And obviously bobsleigh.
Yeah, I was going to ask.
In a tin can is pretty cool, but it gets pretty bumpy down the ice,
I couldn't do it. That would freak me out.
It's all right, but
was it an adrenaline thing? Like,
I was just good at it.
You just had a skill.
Yeah, I like being good. I like being good at what I do. I like learning my trade and being good at what I do. So I just became good at it and fast and powerful. A bit forgetful. I forgot the bobsleigh once. I was supposed to take the bobsleigh training.
No.
And I forgot the bobsleigh. Yeah.
That's not going to work.
They're like, Fish, where's the bob? Let's get it out. I was like, no.
Where was it?
I was in Italy.
Oh, no.
And we had heats before, we had training heats for the race the next day. And I was in charge of, like, leaving the hotel with the van, putting the bob on and bringing it to training. got to the start, like the start of the track. And that, right, Fish, let's jump. Like, guys, going to help Fish get the bob out. And my head went, the bob. I was like, I haven't got it.
I had no idea it was called that. It's called the bob.
Yeah, it was just called the bob.
Oh, I love that.
I was like, I haven't got it. I was like, oh my gosh. So we missed the first couple of heats.
Oh no.
Safe to say that, yeah, the driver was a bit annoyed at me, but I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm just new to this.
So this was pre-rugby?
This was kind of in between. So
Okay.
I was with England Rugby from age 16. Went to School of Excellence in Bath alongside maybe 6 or 7 other young players who also I ended up playing England with.
Wow, okay.
So really cool, yeah. And then got dropped from England quite early on, I think at 22, being a bit cocky, forgetting my socks, wearing the wrong socks, forgetting my gum shield to look after my teeth, you know, having to run back to change rooms because I didn't bring my water bottle. And for the little things that I suppose in any profession we see as, just a little thing. It's no little thing, is it? And those little things added up, and the coach ran me and said, Fish, you played awesome and you had a great trial, but we're going to drop you down to students because your off-pitch stuff isn't good enough.
Okay.
I didn't fill out my nutrition diary because of my anorexia.
Yeah.
I didn't fill out my training diary because it was obvious that I trained. And it was like little things that in my head were quite logical. It's obvious that I'm training. I'm stronger than, I'm pretty strong.
Yeah.
And it's obvious that I'm eating. I didn't want to record my food. I didn't record my training.
Yeah.
And so I got dropped, but then it wasn't safe for me to be dropped because I was hurting the opposition. I was hurting the opposition because I was pretty strong. And yeah, I was sat in Starbucks in Cardiff, and someone came up to me and said, you know, you look pretty strong. What do you do? I said, England Rugby. And they said, well, we're looking for athletes for the next Winter Olympics. You want to trial out?
What?
So I was like, yeah, why not? So I phoned my coach. I think it was like 6-7 weeks later. I said, look, FYI, I've been called into like bobsleigh, GB bobsleigh. If I'm good enough for England Rugby, I'll make it when I get back. They were the exact words I said, and I will never forget those words because Gary was like, Fish, you serious? And how cocky do I sound? If I'm good enough for England Rugby, I'll make it when I get back. Because I thought if I'm a good player, I'll be even better after Bob because I'll be faster.
Yeah.
And actually, if my opportunity's over here, you've just dropped me. It's great, but I may as well go. I'm going to keep training, so I may as well go over here and just go and push a Bob for a bit.
I mean, this is something that not many people would have necessarily been like, oh yeah, all right then. What I mean, there'll be people listening who may be looking to take a bit of a. I mean, I guess it was a bit. You wouldn't really put rugby and that together.
No.
So what? Are you glad you took that step?
Oh
that
yeah,
was
hell yeah.
Unpredictable.
It made my career.
Wow.
It made my career because I then became, so before bobsleigh, I was an all-over good athlete. But my endurance was probably slightly better, right?
Okay.
But then specialising in speed and power for 3 years, I just became over 20 metres. I was just intercepting balls left, right and centre when I went back to rugby. The refs are like, Fish, like, I was on side. And I was talking to the refs, I'm on side, and then go intercept the ball and score. And the refs are like, you can't be that quick, like get back on side. So I'd make sure I'd stand back behind the line. Yeah. Because it was, I'm going to get there, I'm going to beat you. So I was like, I'm just faster.
That's your training advice then for anyone looking to make it into professional rugby. Get a Bob.
Yeah, I just, for me, like certain doors will open for you.
Yeah.
And there's always carrots that are dangling in any industry now. There's always opportunity. You can always find opportunity, can't we, in the pressured situations. But it doesn't mean that every opportunity is right for you. But for me, I have this why not attitude. Like, why not? I've got it on my arm, written on my arm. Why not?
Yeah.
Like, why not just give something a go, and why not just take the chance? I do believe I'm a bit of a risk taker. I will take a risk. And I just want to be ready for anything that I come across or stumble across. I think that's where life happens. Yeah. Is the unexpected. And I suppose from that moment onwards, I always felt like actually it's okay because one door will close, another door will always open. Don't get me wrong, if things don't go my way, if I don't get selected for something or TV wise, I don't get selected, I know it feels like the right thing, I find that really hard to let go.
I can imagine, yeah.
I find that really hard to let go because I can feel it's the right thing and I'll be really good at it. But actually, I think I'm going to be good at quite a few things. So I think it's just channeling myself to certain areas. But I'm a bit ADHD. I'm a bit everywhere. I get excited over lights and loads of different things. I get excited so easily.
That's lovely. I like that. That's there's a lot to be. You know, I think there's I
can be a lot to handle.
But that again, I think it's a good thing. I think life. A lot of conversations these days are very, not negative, but there's a lot of cynicism about, and I think enjoying things and like you just said, getting excited about stuff, I think that's super important.
But then when you asked me the question earlier about did I enjoy playing for England and did I enjoy that, did I have fun, like the answer is probably not really. But do you know what I mean? And I think when it comes to dentistry and it comes to other industries, I would be seen as a bit of a clown in England, right? But when I cross the white line, I would always switch it on. And I think in the industries, and this is any industry now, I think sometimes we see people who are slightly different or got energy as, we must try and control them. Actually, we don't need to control the characters. We need to understand the character and understand how to get the best out of people and trust them. Trust that when they step into the chair or when they step over the white line or when they step into the room or the office, they are ready to go because they've got their process in place. And I think in the industries, a lot, like outside this room, we say it's great being instinctive and great having character, but actually it's still not fully accepted in business and high level because actually you're seen as not taking it seriously.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I'd like to ask, obviously working in a team in sport, whilst different to working in perhaps in other industries, so what I do, obviously I work in an office and then you've got dentists who work in dental practice, you're not always, I'm not asking for gossip here, but you're not always going to get on with everyone, or you're going to have moments where you clash or there's disagreements. And I can imagine in sport and rugby in particular, that can get quite tense.
I'll just play fight them.
Well, listen, I don't think you can do that in dental surgery. But what I was going to ask is how did you overcome that? Is there any kind of, there might be a lot of people who struggle to just move past either a disagreement or an argument with a colleague. How do you put that aside and on the day when you need to deliver?
So it comes down to your culture in your setup.
Okay.
If your culture is one that it can be honest and open and transparent and you've allowed that to happen, then it's easy to have the conversation to say, I'm struggling today, or I didn't find that useful towards me. So if I just backtrack a minute, make sure the setups and the culture and the environment is right.
Okay.
However, if the culture and environment isn't right, that's really, really tough. I don't think it's very easy to embrace conflict and challenge when the environment is wrong. But if you have good relationships, I'm talking, I suppose, if you have good relationships, then just being able to be honest and say, I'm struggling today, or asking, if someone, I had conflict all the time. We had conflict all the time, and healthy conflict. And we saw conflict as like feedback, and feedback is making us better. If someone's going to give me feedback, or a coach is going to give me feedback, or a player, another peer player, then they care about me because they're trying to make me better.
Yeah.
If I didn't agree, then it would be a dialogue, and we would learn to receive information as well as communicate. So communication is listening and talking. A lot of people talk and want to say their point. Not many people listen.
No.
And not many people know how to kind of keep that dialogue like nice and calm. So we had a lot of sessions on mindset and we had a lot of sessions on like mindset and language and speaking to people.
I wouldn't have, that's interesting.
Yeah, but in that setup, that wouldn't happen in a work setup. So my advice in a work setup is like choose which people you can be honest with and have an honest conversation. I think honesty is always the best way. I'm not always great with my words at the moment because I feel I get frustrated quite easily because I can't always get my words out. On the pitch, I didn't have to speak all the time. I could just action and I'll be like, I can't say it, but let me just show you. Sometimes I get frustrated because I can't always get my words out. But having an honest conversation, understand the people around you, your team, understanding what colours they lead with or what profile they lead with, so you know how they communicate best. Ask them the question, like, you look like you're struggling today. When you struggle next time, what do you need from me?
Yeah.
If you ask them the question, or if someone's dealt with you incorrectly or not got the best out of you, you could say to them, I would say, just FYI, when we were in that situation over there, that didn't get the best out of me. So when it comes to the pressure, they know exactly how to speak to you.
And it's, I mean, that sounds really healthy. So to be able to feel you can say that to someone and know that
it takes a lot of courage to say that.
It does, but also you need to feel that it's going to be taken right, because then that's where people don't speak. So they're like, this isn't going to be taken in the right way.
But it's creating the environment to receive information, and it's understanding if you're going to speak, you also have to receive.
Yeah. That's true. You
can't just be one, not the other. You buy into both sides of it. But also, if you've got a culture that some people have said we want to talk and other people don't, you might have whiteboards in the offices or outside. You know, things that I've struggled with today, you can write them on there.
Yeah.
So then you're not directing it at a person. You kind of.
That's a good idea.
Great idea, isn't it?
Yeah. It's a good idea.
20%, please.
That's a great idea.
You know, you can have hot feedback, cold feedback. So straight after a session. Or I don't know what you call it when you're in the dentist. What do you call it? Like if you're doing something.
I don't know. I'm not a dentist.
Okay, if you're dealing with teeth and it's pressured, you might have like hot feedback where that's how you felt initially.
I see.
But and then a few hours later, once everyone's cooled down, you might have cold feedback. You can give feedback many different ways. Sometimes we'll have cue cards on a table. And it might just be to spark conversation about personality or how to deal with pressure or how to deal with communication. And we'll just do it while we have lunch. So different ways of having those conversations. But I think the biggest learning in high performance sport and business, the transition in terms of like what they don't do in business and they do in sport, right?
Yeah.
Is just the transparency of the conversation and being honest.
Yeah, I don't know why it's so tricky, because you'd think as humans that we would, we're pretty, I'd like to say smart beings. We should be able to communicate correctly, but I just think it's so difficult to find people who can do that right.
Yeah, but it shouldn't be difficult.
No, it shouldn't. I agree. I mean, I'm not saying I'm perfect at it, but it's just it's a real obstacle in business. I would agree with that.
Yeah, a lot of it comes down to confidence, the individual.
Yeah.
But that comes from what I said at the very beginning, which is knowing yourself. Knowing yourself and having a bit of EI about you, emotional intelligence, and just actually working the room out. You've got to work the room out real quick, or you've got to work your players out. Because if I'm on a pitch with the players and we've got 2 minutes to win a game, something's got to change. You can't always hear each other because the crowd. And you've got to be able, it's stressful. And you've got to be able to, my job in the middle of the pitch was to be able to listen to what was going on the right hand side, listen to what was being fed in me from the left hand side, and do my job and communicate to left and right. So you've got to be able to, you're in the middle of the pitch, you're kind of the connection to the left and the right. And you've got to make sure that you're listening to what the pictures they're seeing and where the space is and what's happening in front of me, and dealing with what's in front of you as well.
Yeah.
There's a lot of pressure and in that amount of time.
Yeah.
And you don't always make the right decision, but you've got to, we would always speak about, and it's the same in dentistry and other industries, the more pictures that I'm exposed to, the more I'll be able to make the right decision.
Yeah, that's true. You used the word pressure a couple of times there. I was hoping we could talk a little bit about handling that. Obviously, you've got some incredible achievements under your belt. International career playing for England. That's got to come with some pressure. You might not have. I don't want to assume that you kept a cool head. I'm assuming there's probably times when you didn't keep a cool head. I'd be impressed if you kept a cool head the entire time. But how did you stay level?
How did I stay level?
Yeah, because it's not the same. But dentistry it's not the same. But it's a high pressured environment, and it's
for sure.
It's people's health. So, and whilst it's different in that sense, I think there are a lot of similarities in this is the moment where I've got to get this. Not necessarily right, but I've got to do my best.
You spend, like any industry now,
yeah.
I think this will be the same in dentistry, same as rugby. We probably spend 85% of our time on processes and getting ourselves fit, strong, powerful, robust, knowing the moves, although I never could retain the moves, knowing the moves, getting ourselves in the right positions. So when it came to that performance of like 10% we have to perform now, we've spent 85% doing all the homework.
Okay.
When I, like most businesses, just turn up, do their thing. They don't really spend time learning of their trade. They just go straight into their trade. I suppose it's slightly different for a dentist because they've got to go for the training. But we would spend a lot of time in the process part and probably 10-15% in performance, right? But pressure, when I was younger, I struggled with like controlling the energy, having the weight of the world. I felt like the weight of the world was on me.
Yeah.
And it's women's sport, so where is it all going? And I felt a weight of the world of like never being enough because you're in a male dominated sport and males take over.
Mm-hmm.
And it always felt like, what am I doing it all for? But then actually you've got to put women on the map, and you've got to start being something so other women can follow and follow suit.
That's a lot of pressure.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
But then you've got, I'm not really earning money and I'm playing for my country. Then you've got, I'm a really good player, but I can't really afford to go on holiday. So you've got all these other thoughts going on. And then you've got, obviously, when you get to World Cups, Commonwealth Games, Olympic Games, the weight of the world on your shoulders, because people just expect from you. People expect. They don't, I don't know what it is about GB athletes, but they do expect you to bring home medals. When you don't, it's like, go and go and go. Yeah, you got it. Oh. And that sound of, is like, hold on, don't hate me just because we've just fallen short.
Yeah.
We could have just come up a little bit and you would have loved us, and now you don't.
Just a tiny
bit.
Yeah.
Which you're talking moments in time.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's really tough.
Yeah.
But when you start to then go through your career and you year by year, season upon season, and you're kind of getting used to playing for your country, it's a privilege to have pressure. Because if you're in a pressure situation, whether it's work, business, on the pitch, you know, being an athlete, playing for your country, if you've got pressure, that means you're changing the world. You're thriving. It means you're doing something.
It's true.
And I think the view of pressure when I got older was, I'm in a privileged position that I can do this every day because pressure is now a privilege. And that, seeing pressure as an opportunity, as a privilege, I kind of reframed it and was very much like, these 4 white lines I'm on every day. The Olympics is no different. It's just the occasion. And with the occasion comes the event. And on the event, we put a certain pressure on because the emotions that are attached to external. So if you bring it back, it's just 4 white lines. And it's no different to training. And actually, I'm going to do my best. I'm a good person, tick. I'm doing my best, tick. I'm going to make mistakes. That's okay.
Yeah.
And I have to be, but it doesn't, don't get me wrong, I'll dwell on every mistake I made.
Yeah.
Like you'd come, I might have scored, 2 tries, set up 3 tries, and I might have just given a ball that should have gone to hands and didn't. And I'm kicking myself for like overnight.
Yeah.
For a good 2-3 days. Sometimes that would last like a week. One moment in time would last a week. I can still remember some of my errors now because they never leave you.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, we can't learn unless we have errors. That's where we learn.
It's hard to accept, I think, sometimes, particularly when you feel like everything's depending on that moment and it doesn't quite go the way you want or intended it to. And you, obviously, when you're part of a team as well, I can imagine that feels, it's not just yourself that you feel responsible for, you're kind of responsible for those around you, and because you're working towards the same goal. So it can't be easy.
Yeah, it's really tough when you, like, there's one game I played against Fiji and we were winning. And I got brought on the pitch with like 5 minutes to go and I made a mistake and they beat us.
Oh.
And I made a stupid mistake. And my game was always based on instinct and how I felt.
Okay.
Not how I felt personally, but the feeling of the game around. I could feel the game around me and feel the opposition and feel where the defenders were going and vice versa. And when I remember making this mistake, and I remember thinking, that's on me now. That's on me. And that doesn't leave you.
It's one of those things though that I think everybody, perhaps not again, different situation, but everyone will experience that at some point.
It's so tough.
Is that something you still carry now, or is it less as time healed it a bit?
Yeah, for sure. Like, you have to get over it.
Yeah.
But like, I'm talking about it, so it's obviously there somewhere, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I think it comes down to, similar now to transition. Any big player or doctor or someone who's well regarded and well respected in the industry, there's almost a unbiased consciousness of, you must be better and do more. And I think coming out of international rugby and then into this next life, I felt it quite a lot because people are expecting big things. And I'm like, hold on a minute, like, isn't this big what I'm doing now? But actually, it's only an issue when our expectation isn't aligned. Yeah. So if you expect to, I don't know, let's just say host your own show, and, I got a call and said, you're not good enough, but I expect that of myself, I'm going to be gutted.
Yeah.
And I think I expect a lot of myself. And so when I don't get things, people say, "Oh, fish is still really good." It's not good enough for me because I expect more. I wish I could expect less, but the truth is, I want more. And I'm not going to be afraid to say, "That's great, but want more." And it's not because of greed. It's because I know where I want to be. Yeah. I want to reach my potential, and that is the sweet spot. I want to reach my potential. I don't think I ever reached my potential playing for my country. Even though I've done 5 World Cups, Olympics, Commonwealth Games, 2 different sports, I've not reached my potential. And that frustrates me. And in this next chapter, I want to reach my potential. And my potential is like over there. It's like over there.
Isn't that fun though?
Yeah, but sometimes the journey to get there, like in sport, you can see you're going to play this game. We're going to see where you are. We're going to build you. We're going to give you feedback. We're going to make you better. Cool. And remember, in sport, you have feedback every day and every night.
Yeah.
Every day you have feedback. Every night you can put it to bed because you just had a review of that training session. You know exactly where you went wrong, and you can go again the next day. So you can fix it straight away. In this industry now, I might do a talk, or I might do a gig, or I might have an interview for something. I don't really know if I've done right or wrong. I don't really know what they want. I've just been me. But if they said, "Fish, you need that from you," oh, cool, I can do it. But they didn't tell you that. It's like you're supposed to be some kind of mind reader. And I'm like, why don't you just tell me? So actually, to get to my potential feels like really zigzaggy. And I go off tangent over here because no one's told me, "Fish, we just need that from you." Right, well, why don't you say? Because I can do loads of different things. But in sport, it's very much, "Fish, we don't want that, we need that." Sweet. And in this game, we need that. Sweet. I know exactly where I stand.
So this chapter in now is a bit more uncertain for you then, perhaps.
Very much.
Yeah, is you out of your comfort zone. You spent however many years playing sport as your career. And when did you retire? 2 years ago, did you say?
Yeah. What we're now? Yeah, 2 years ago.
2 years ago. So it's new territory for you. What? I know you kind of just described there that it's something you're still adjusting to. Is that fair to say?
Very much so. Oh my God.
But what?
Very much so.
Are you glad?
But I'm happy I'm out.
Yeah, this is what I was about to ask.
I'm so much happier out.
That's great. That's fantastic to hear.
Yeah, I'm so much happier out.
Yeah.
I can totally be myself. I was always battling to be myself.
Yeah.
Like, what colour hat am I wearing? Orange. I'd always be told off wearing a different coloured hat.
Why?
It's stupid, isn't it?
A little bit, yeah.
But worse than that, like, I'm allergic to visco.
Okay.
Like acrylics and stuff. So if I wore acrylics or visco on my head, I get really, really, like, my head is red raw, like a sappy open.
I can't be comfortable.
But I still have to wear a freaking England hat.
Which
so then,
had
visco in it.
Right, I see.
So then I'd wear my own hats, but I wasn't allowed to. The amount of times like I've been kicked out of England and sent back home. He's like, why? I don't understand. What am I doing so wrong? Being told you're part of the furniture, being told to be a chair and be part of the furniture. Well, I don't know what that means.
So the last 2 years you felt a lot more free.
I'm totally free. When I first came out, I was like, I am free. I've got freedom.
Yeah.
And I really value my mornings. I really value not rushing out the door. I really value just getting up. It's fantastic. And just having time for a coffee and just like not belting out the door.
Yeah.
And like having to put my kit on and go again. Like I do miss playing. I miss playing for my country, and I miss the smell of mud, and I miss the camaraderie and the really crap banter with my friends. But apart from that, I don't miss it. I haven't put my boots on to play since I stepped away. And I don't want to put them back on. Like, I know I did a good thing. I know I'm a great player, but that's over there.
Yeah.
And now I've got to be great over here. If the entertainment industry could just tell me what to do so I can just get there, that'd be really useful. Because it's just backward over here.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's time, if I'm honest. So
I know, but the thing is, you can't change time. It does my head in. I can't change it.
It's been, you're 2 years in, it's
I know, but
I relate to the impatience thing. I totally do.
It's so frustrating.
It's trusting that process, and it's something new and it's something exciting.
I'm trying to trust the process more, but I'm trying to think when I'm ready, I'll be there.
Yeah, absolutely.
When the time is right,
yep.
I'll be where I need to be at the right time. Until then, fish, sit tight, just ride the ride. I can't enjoy the ride because it's just I'm not stressed in it, but I am really eager. I get bored. When I get bored, I go sleepy.
Oh, but like literally.
I just go a bit like I go the opposite.
Okay.
I don't get on. I get like, yeah, whatever. I get a bit YOLO, a bit like, oh, I'm over it now.
Yeah,
I'm bored. I'm done. Like, I get like that.
Well, hopefully you'll have a lot of new opportunities in this next chapter, and I think it's a bit like dentistry, believe it or not. It's not just the clinical side. There's a lot of business opportunities now in it. There's like aesthetics that people go into, obviously, like cosmetic dentistry, composites, veneers, things like that.
So much.
There's so much they can do, and I think a lot of people can relate to what you're saying, in that when they step out of something and try something different, it can feel very unnerving, and you can feel very out like a fish out of water, just very there we go. I haven't had that one before, have you? But like you feel a little bit.
I had a fish jump out of the water once. Had a pet eel when I was young. Yeah,
I don't like eels very much.
It scared me so much. But all I can remember is coming home from school. I was really young. I think I must be like 9 or 10, because before my parents split up. And my mum was vacuuming, and my bedroom door was closed. And she was like, oh, darling, your fish is on the floor. It wasn't a fish, it was eel. And it jumped out the fish. She cleaned around my fish tank, and it leapt out, and it was on the floor. And she left it because she was scared to pick it up. I got it back in, but then I was really scared of it. I remember piling all my books up again on the tank, so it couldn't ever escape. Flipped itself out? No, I had to get it back in. But once I it flipped, it jumped. But once I put it back in, I was dead scared of it. I remember, I can just see it in this little tank now with all these books stacked on it.
Oh, I feel sorry for both of you, actually. No one was a winner in that situation.
I used to buy a new fish every Friday after school.
Eel is a very interesting pet. I'm really glad you brought that up. I've never known anybody to have a pet eel.
I used to have a pet pig.
That's quite cool.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, like a big pig?
Well, no, he was supposed to be. He was a miniature.
Yeah.
He grew really.
Yeah,
George.
They do.
He grew really big. He grew so big, and then when I was leaving for England training, Mum would like, oh yeah, I fed George, don't worry. I'd be like, Mum, what you fed him? Oh, pizza. Mum, they can't give him pizza.
Really anything.
And he's always hungry. He was always always hungry.
I quite like pigs. They're smarter than dogs. I have a lot of respect for animals that are smarter than dogs.
They're so cool. Yeah. He used to sleep in my bed, actually, like next to my calf. This calf, actually.
Oh.
Only for the first 2 years, though, Gabby. Because after that,
I was going to say you wouldn't have any room.
He's so big. It's like this big.
Oh, thank you for bringing George into this conversation too. You sort of blessed us with 2 unique animals there that you had as a pet. Thank you for coming on. It's been a great conversation. I hope it's allowed you to talk about something a bit different to what you usually do as well.
It's like a therapy session.
Yeah. We can. That's what I like about this. It's meant to be not too formal.
I think we can all learn from everyone's. We can always learn from everybody's fields of expertise. Yeah. We all actually have the same struggles. We all just feel quite alone because there's this expectation of what we should be doing, and actually what we should be doing is following ourselves and what we feel. And yeah, it's not easy. It really isn't easy. And then when you question who you are or what you are or where you're going next, you start to throw all the questions, and suddenly you're like, yikes, you get lost. But sometimes just taking action and doing something, it doesn't matter if it's even the wrong thing to do, but just take action is the first sign of growing, because once you're in something, at least then you can yay or nay it.
That's true.
And then you can move aside and you can move on, you know?
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Really, really appreciate you coming on.
No worries, Gabby. I'm glad you kept this voice.